does this team do a little bit better than last year's team at this point of the season?
Yeah, it's a long ways to remember back. I think for so much of this season, we talked about the depth and experience that team had. I think we've really shrunk the gap on that. I think this year's team, the depth and I think the athleticism and able to pressure defensively is better than what we were last year at this time. So I think we've seen that over the last couple of weeks, that we've had a little bit more of a nuance of, Rain's been able to defend really well. Alicia has been able to defend really well. Anisha, these guys have been able to pressure the basketball. So I think that's a little bit of a component that we didn't have last year. We were a little more experienced, but I think we've really shrunk the gap. I think the freshmen have really come along and done a nice job for us.
How much have, especially your last 2 wins last week, really bolstered the overall attitude of this group? Because, I think Allie said, she's like, we know we can beat everybody.
Yeah, I think there's probably a handful of teams that feel like they can win this thing, right? I think there's a handful of teams that feel like they can beat anybody on any given night. I think we're in that category. I think if you look to majority of everything of the whole season, but I think really since Christmas, we had the slip up at Rhode Island, and we're taught some valuable lessons there that we just hadn't done some things well to that point. Since that time, we've been really, really good and really consistently good through the whole time. We kind of had that 40-hour window up in the DMV that did not go very well. Played 2 really good defenses that kind of woke us up a little bit about some things that we needed to work on. And then this last week, kind of got our feet back underneath us a little bit. And so the footing, I'm not going to say smooth, but I think there's a little bit of a confidence and a little bit of a buzz and some juice with this squad coming off these last 3 games. Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to be the top seed the last 2 years that it's been here, and that schedule looks a lot different, right? It's an 11 a.m. start. A lot of that is positive. Some of that was really tough that we feel almost grateful that we don't have to go through some of that with it. As I've told everybody that I've seen in the last few days, this is a Friday night party in the RVA, man. This is a 7:30 start. Seeing some of the Henrico folks, they're not upset about seeing, quote, the local team play the 7:30 tip. So I think that part is great. I think, this is probably the biggest fan base that we've had for our home games over the last 3 years. So if we can get a majority of those guys to get some friends and get up to Henrico, I think it'll be a really, really cool atmosphere Friday, and hopefully that maintains the rest of the weekend.
A little bit about the road you have to take. Being the 3 seed, you're in the top 4, so you don't play early, but you will have to play maybe Mason and Rhode Island to accomplish your goal.
Yeah, it's a long week, so obviously, I hate to say that we look ahead, but you're trying to prepare for more than just one team, and really, we don't even know who we're going to play on Friday night. We will practice on Thursday and go through practice and not know 100% who we're going to play. So I think that part's a little bit of a challenge, but I think it also allows us that, what the heck, let's take a look at some other teams and let's prepare for some things, which we have done as a staff, and we'll do a little bit these next few days. Whatever 3 teams that we play, if we're fortunate to keep advancing, it's going to be 3 teams that know they can beat us as well. I think, do we feel like we can run the tape? Yeah, of course we do. You got to have that level of confidence. But I'm no dummy. I know these teams. I know these coaches really well. There's other folks that feel the same.
Maggie also said, which is probably different than what fans would think, but Rick asked about, a return trip to the NCAA. She didn't even care about that because she wants to get the girls that didn't get to experience 23 or 24, so to experience that. And that means more to them than anything in March Madness. Getting there obviously is huge, but winning the conference championship means so much more to them than the average fan might get.
Sure. I think we were very grateful last year to get in the tournament and be able to have that run. And do we want that again? Absolutely. But, there's a little bit of an emptiness from last year of not getting that, quote, championship, to not have that banner, to not have those memories of March 9th last year, whatever it is, March 8th this year. That's a special memory for that crew from 2024. And you had to watch somebody else do that last year. So I think that burns a little bit. But I also, as I told our players, this could be the greatest night of your life up until this point. This could be the greatest day of your life. These could be the best memories that you can ever have. but you got to go out there and make it happen. And I think that's a little bit probably what Maggie was talking about is we didn't have that feeling last year. A majority of these guys did not have that feeling, and we're not on the team 2024. We want to give that to them as well.
Obviously, beating Rhode Island was top of our list after losing to them, and we just kind of felt like they didn't respect us and kind of give us, the credit that we deserved, and we went in there and kind of took that personally. And then with St. Joe's too, we knew that they were going to be a tough matchup. They're gritty, they're tough. Their coach has them playing really hard, and they were missing a couple of key players, but we still tried to take advantage of everything that we could, and we were able to, come out with a win, which was great.
I don't think you have to tell a lot of people in this room what this weekend will be like and what it will take to get to Sunday or win Sunday.
Yeah.
But what is the message heading into a tournament like this, tournament setting like this?
I usually come to think of that like Thursday, Friday morning. But no, it's obvious. It's super important. Not a lot of people have won a championship, from that 23-24 team. It's me, Rachel, Jada, and Allie who are all there. So they don't know the feeling. A lot more of them know the feeling of the loss that happened last year, which was not a great feeling. But I want nothing more than to help the younger kids, have that feeling of just pride and just pure excitement when you win that championship on Sunday. So these next couple of days of practice are going to be tough, but we also got to know that we got to manage our bodies because 3 games in 3 days is really tough. So we're just going to try and be smart about it, get our sleep, but also know that it's now or never once we get to Friday.
Wally also mentioned this, and how important is it that everybody knows that you are capable of not just playing with and beating everybody else that you might run into this year?
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of GW, we lost to Mason and Rhode Island, but we also beat Mason and Rhode Island. And the games that we lost, we knew we weren't at our best at all. Even our Mason game at home, I feel like we weren't at our best, and we were still able to come out with the win. So I think we have that confidence, and we know that we're able to compete and beat, the best teams in our league. And it's just a matter of, are we willing to go out and do it? And I think we're there. I think we are.
How important is it to you to be a career with an NCAA bid?
It's not just the bid. It's really just the A10 championship. That's, the best feeling that I've had as a Spider is throwing the ball up in the air and celebrating with my teammates in that championship. And then the worst feeling is losing. So I want nothing more than to go to Henrico and come out with the championship. I want my team to experience March Madness. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. It's awesome, and that's what I want. I just want a championship and my teammates to experience this.
You have beat Rhode Island, you have lost to Rhode Island. You beat George Mason, you have lost to Rhode Island. I mean, this tournament is pretty much wide open. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, yeah. I really think it's just going to come down to who wants it the most, who's willing to, come in every day and lay it all out there. I think we have what it takes. I think that we are more than capable of doing that. We just have to, make sure that everybody's on the same page and go out and just fight every day.
Is this group do anything better than last year's group at this time of the year? Or not really? Similar,
I think we're better defensively. When we're at our best and we're playing our best defense, I think that we're better than we were last year. I think we're also pushing the ball a lot faster in transition than we were last year. I think it helps with Anisha stepping up and Alicia getting a little more comfortable and kind of taking the pressure off of Allie, especially when we're in transition. And I think Rachel's pushed the ball better as of late too. I think I have helped Allie try to push the ball a little bit. So I think our transition is a little bit better than it was this time last year.
It would appear that the Spiders are hitting their stride, and you have more players available to you now. You've had at any point in the season. Where is Richmond at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're in a good place. I think that we're doing things that that we've been able to do all season. We talked about our identity really early in the season and just building a strong foundation for us to build on that. And I think that we've done that very well. And like you said, we're hitting our stride, per se, at a good point in the season. But like I said, it's nothing that we didn't know that we had in us the entire season.
That goes for the win over Rhode Island last week. I mean, best game of the season, or if not one of them?
Yeah, we executed really well. We executed game plan really well. Obviously, we shot the ball really well, and they didn't hit shots, so that plays into it, and that's something that you have in the back of your mind coming into tournament play. But yes, we did. We executed game plan really well. We played as a team very well, so overall, we're happy with that performance.
And to Rick's point, just the overall collective, I hate the term, but the collective mindset of the team heading into a tournament, coming off a couple of wins like you've had this past week. Is this the best you guys have felt about yourselves all season?
Yeah, I would say so. I think we're in a really good spot with the way that we've been playing. I think we're in a really good spot mentally. As individuals, I would say we are. And then collectively, like you said, we're in a good spot mentally. And I think that'll do us some good.
And with the collective experience of this team, this is now, heading into a tournament like this, you guys know what it's going to take. You guys know how to win, and you've done it before, and you expect to win. How is entering this tournament different than maybe you were 2 years ago, if you could think back then?
Yeah, well, 2 years ago we got to wear white the entire tournament, and chances are that won't be happening this weekend. It's still in Henrico, so although we're not playing at home, it's no secret that we have our home crowd, and that means so much to us. So just going in there, trying to play together, do what we've been working for all season, and then trying to make it enjoyable for our home crowd in Henrico.
Coach Russell has made subtle changes as the season has progressed. Without asking you to tell me some of those changes, it feels more cohesive, and the chemistry I say better, but you can see it from up above where I shoot these games.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think that what we're displaying, is not anything that we haven't had in our pocket the entire season. So while it's great that it's coming out right now, again, it's been there the entire time. We've had the pieces. It just seems now like they're all coming together. So team chemistry has been awesome. We've been able to get minutes from different people, like Anisha Scott coming off of that huge game against LaSalle. She's gotten more minutes since then, and I think that has been huge for us. She brings something at the one that Alicia and I don't, and I think that has been a secret weapon, I guess, although probably not so secret anymore, but just different things that he's been able to pull out of his back pocket throughout the season, and especially right now, I think that has been and will continue to be really big for us.
It's great that you're a top 4 seed. You don't have to play till Friday, but as the 3 seed, you're going to have to play Rhode Island and George Mason to win the title. Just your thoughts on tangling with those two possibly?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are both really good, very well-coached teams. Me and a teammate were just talking about it not too long ago, actually. We've shown that we can beat every team in this league, and while that's great to know, it's nothing to get complacent about, because like I said about the Rhode Island game, we were hitting and they weren't. It just depends on the night. The level of competition in this league this year, anything can happen any night. So I don't think that anything that we've done this year is like I said, anything to get complacent about. I mean, everybody is 0-0 starting this weekend. So I think that that's really huge to lock in and focus in on.